Hello everybody, this is Dragonzilla1991 here, and today/tonight, depending on what time it is when you're watching this video, I will be taking a look at a dinosaur to which you all knew would eventually get its own episode, and that is of course the EoFauna scientific research Tyrannosaurus rex that I got for my birthday last year. Now technically we have looked at the king of the dinosaurs before, such as the running Papo T-Rex, who was filling in for the Statosaurus Rex for the 2005 P. Jackson Playmates King Kong figures that I reviewed when Kong Skull Island was just around the corner many years ago. Links in the description below in case you're interested. Warning, that video is very drony compared to this one. And the miniature from the Collector Mini Dinosaurs Tube Set 1, again, link below, and Rexy's part is here. However, this is the first time that Tyrannosaurus gets its own video, and this has always been the plan since day one of this series. It was just finding the perfect model. So I believe this carnivore needs no introduction, because Tyrannosaurus is bound to be one of the first dinosaurs that you'll hear of, along with Triceratops and Diplodocus. Now the Tyrant King has had a lot of urge since day one of dino figures, and EoFauna's interpretation is considered to be the most scientifically accurate. Before, it was Safari's 2017 feathered portrayal. However, EoFauna have since taken the crown. Now believe it or not, this is actually the first dinosaur produced by EoFauna that I've ever gotten for the collection. Of the rest have so far been Protosidian that have all been covered and reviewed, links are in the description below. But it was only a matter of time that a dinosaur would eventually be added, and at the time of making this video they have done about 6 dinosaurs so far, aside from T-Rex, those being Gigantosaurus, Atlosaurus, Triceratops, Diplodocus and Ankylosaurus. The model itself is based on Sue, who is the most complete specimen, and this figure can work as any Tyrannosaurus, but from what I have heard, some sources do clearly say that it's Sue herself. Like all the other EoFauna models, she comes with a trading card and one accessory, which is the support base, that reflects her environment. She can be removed and stand by herself, however I personally like to display her on the base, as you can see. The colour scheme is quite interesting because she's mostly yellow, and her head, back, arms, legs and light patterns appear to be tar black and grey, and if I'm going to be honest, I'm not really a fan of these colours, as in my opinion, they just don't look right on Tyrannosaurus. The greys and blacks are fine, but I'm not a fan of the yellow. Even though the more times I look at it, it is slowly growing on me. However, I would have gone for a colour scheme that was quite similar to Prehistoric Plants portrayal, or even the original Walking with Dinosaurs. This model does have articulation in the jaw, so you have the option to close or open, but I like to keep mine closed. And if you look closely, you may notice a gap in between the lips. Also, speaking of which, I really do like the lips that are covering the teeth. T-Rex has been depicted with lips before in paleo art, however that was always dominated over by teeth on show, as seen in Jurassic Park, where in reality the animal would possess lips, and they would be reptilian-like, as seen on Komodo dragons, rather than droopy dog. I suspect a lot of people were really hoping for the droopy dog style lips, rather than reptilian. However, there was one thing that many folks were really hoping for, which was surrounding this dinosaur, and that was the big question. Did Tyrannosaurus rex, the king of all dinosaurs, possess feathers? And for a few years this theropod was depicted being all fluffy, but because the animal lived in a much warmer environment, it has been suggested that T-Rex was actually more smooth skin with a bit of feathering, which is what we can see on the model. Too much feathers and Tyrannosaurus would have overheated. However, if we look closely on the back, we can see what appear to be fine hair like feathering. So Tyrannosaurus did have feathers, but it wasn't as overly fluffy as seen in illustrations from the mid-2010s and those figures from Collector and Safari. But if T-Rex did live in a colder environment, then perhaps the overly feathered portrayal wouldn't be possible. Now for size comparisons. So this is what Tyrannosaurus looks like with the Safari Limited Triceratops, and here she is with the Papo and Ankylosaurus. Real life Godzilla and real life Anguirus respectively, if you're a kaiju nerd like yours truly. This is what she looks like with the Safari Limited Pteranodon, or for the fun of it, real life Rodan, and of course here she is with the Collector's Stegosaurus, who's also new to the collection and received this Christmas just gone. 2 icons of the Mesozoic, even though in reality neither dinosaur met one another, as Stegosaurus from the late Jurassic period 145 million years ago, and T-Rex the tail end of the late Cretaceous 66 million years ago. So overall, what are my last thoughts on the EoFauna scientific research Tyrannosaurus rex Sue? Well, like all the other figures made by this company so far, This is what I could only describe as museum quality, because it does look like a model that you would see in a museum. People say that this is one of the best T-Rex figures out there on the market, and I will have to agree on that one. Not really a fan of the colour scheme, as I said earlier, as I feel that could have been much better, but that's my only criticism with the figure. However, the rest is just pure perfection. When EoFauna started making dinosaurs, I think Tyrannosaurus was the most requested, along with Triceratops. I don't know, or it's always been on their radar since day one. This is Dragonzilla 1991 signing out. Take care, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.